So I found my favorite use of black locust of the day. You seem to find a new use for it just about daily. It's kind of hard to see what's going on here, but there's a 2-year-old apricot, and that's this growth, the reddish twigs. And I basically cut pieces of black locust like this. This is 1 year regrowth from Coppice black locust, and that is the part of the regrowth that is absolutely the most covered in spikes and branching. And so if you let a really vigorous rootstock that you've coppiced or pollarded put on shoots and let them go maybe 4 feet and then cut them, and then they rebranch, or maybe 3 feet, you'll get something shaped more or less like these. And so there's one here and then another one on the other side, and I sharpen the bottom with a machete and drive them into the ground. And now for a deer to get in here and get their face near the twigs, they're gonna have to be prepared to get scratched up. And this way you don't have to deal with the long-term regrowth that you would if you planted a living black locust next to the species that you want to keep. But you get the benefit, you can get the tree past deer browse, and if you get these stakes into the ground before it freezes up, they kind of get locked in there, and it's pretty much, I think you're gonna be good for the whole winter. And if you're worried, put 3 or 4. It's not gonna protect the trunk from rabbits, so rabbits or voles will still be an issue, but this is gonna be effective. And if I have to get 3 or 4 for each tree, no big deal. I just coppice more black locust. And again, find myself probably running out of black locust pretty soon. You start to prune back the black locust, and then they have this response of shooting up all this new growth that's really spiky. Well, instead of wood chipping it, or even biocharing it, or even just chop and drop, I think this is maybe in some ways the highest use, because yeah, you're going to lose some of the nitrogen that's in the shoots of the black locust that you would get if you chopped it and then covered it and mulched it, but we're going to keep the fruit tree that we want, which is probably the most important part of the equation. And then later on, once this tree is well past deer browse, these can come down and get chopped up later, and we'll still get all the carbon sequestration and all that. So another way to make value out of black locust before it turns into soil. Here's another peach tree that I protected with a bunch of black locusts. You can see they're kind of going everywhere. They're super spiky, and a good thing is just leave yourself a little nub there or something like that, and that way you can use one of these rubber mallets and hit it in without cracking the branch. Like I said, I use a machete, put the end down on a piece of plywood, and then I can sharpen the end so that the stake can go in the ground easily, and then use this rubber mallet to pound it in. And that looks I'm pretty happy with that. That's going to be very uncomfortable for a deer to go and browse on. And I think they'll just forget about this one for now. A good way to harvest the material is to cut down the top growth, all this kind of material that branches a lot, has lots of thorns, and then I'm cutting pieces that are 4 to 6 to 7 feet long, very branched and thorny. Put all the ends on one end, that way I can just grab that and take it over to the processing area. The material is going to be heading up in that direction, so I'm taking my stock, putting it on the right, and then I process it there, give it the point, and then I put it there, pointing with the butt towards the direction that I want to go in. That way when I'm done, I just grab those sticks and go on to the next part of the process. Exactly how good the protection ends up being, but I really think it's going to be significant, and I certainly don't think that they will take these down to the nubs unless they're really desperate. And if it gets really bad, you could take more and just, you know, there's 3 around this one, and I could put 6. But I think this is going to be enough. We will have a check-in with this at the end of the winter and see how it works. In this one, you can sort of barely even see the peach. It's kind of hidden. And you could use anything for this. Any spiky thing that hopefully won't root out. I don't think black locust is going to root out from this kind of thing. They're going to freeze and die in the winter. But whether it's a rose, a multiflora rose, or Osage orange, or honey locust, or anything spiky that you have, if you have deer pressure going into the winter, maybe consider cutting some of them and getting them set up around your trees for protection.